March 19th, I believe it was, in 2020, we were watching on a tablet the governor's address, and it was announced that salons would be closing at the end of the day and not reopening. I went home that night and I called my mom on my way home and I cried and I said, I'm out of words because I don't know how to work and I don't know what this means for me.
To have your skill set become so irrelevant overnight, you know, the ability to pack a bar between 10 and 2 a.m., it doesn't matter anymore. You're not allowed to do it. That really hits a psyche very hard. And we've lost some good people stepping away to try and find other ways where they can earn. It's been really, really challenging.
And my biggest fear, and a lot of my business neighbors' biggest fear, is where are we going to be 1 to 2 years from now? Even if the pandemic, if we could wave a magic wand and the pandemic went away today, there are still billions, if not trillions of dollars that are going to come due in the next 12 to 24 months. We're going to be in a different type of pandemic.
I developed anxiety through this. I always handled stress and pressure very well. And I don't know where it came from. I don't know when it happened. I want to say sometime in June and July, but I've never had anxiety or panic attacks or anything like that. And I didn't know what was happening to me. I almost went to the hospital once. I
became depressed. I realized that not having human interaction with my extended family, with clients every day, I really need that human interaction.
There was the big unknown. Are we going to make it? Are we going to be able to do enough to-go food and carry out and delivery to be able to keep the doors open and the lights on? Well, I was sitting right here watching the press conference, knowing what was coming. It was a Sunday, it was an afternoon, we were busy in here, and I remember I turned the sound on to the news because, again, we knew what was coming, and I was praying to God it wasn't going to happen, but it ended up happening. And that's when we realized it was very frightening at first. We never were known for our carryout or delivery. So I knew I had a lot of work to do, had a great staff on hand. I was very confident that we were going to be able to do it. And I just remember that first week being very frightening and scary, unsure. The unknown was the most stressful part about it.
So for 2 months, we stayed at home. We watched the news every day. We listened to the governor's daily briefing of Ohio. And it was, for a long time, just no answers. You would hear something different every day with what they thought was going on with COVID without any clear definition of how we needed to behave.
The different things, the mixed messages, and that goes from the local level up to the federal level or back down, whichever way you want to look at it. The mask mandate, whether or not you are pro-mask or not pro-mask, it impacts people. Some of the decisions are being made for political expediency.
I have a really hard time listening to things that don't make sense. I want to hear from scientists who are actually studying this, their information and what is coming out. It's harder for me to listen to a governor, a president, our local, our state. We're getting so much misinformation from every level.
They were changing almost every day. They were always moving the goalposts on us. Everything was tougher. Everything took more effort. Everything Everything took more brain energy, which would wear me down physically.
You're hearing Delaware, our county that we live in right now, is in a red and high alert. Well, the school systems that my kids are going to are not having any cases, and they're in Delaware County. And so I think there's flaws in our numbers. I think there's flaws in how we are getting reported to, and it's causing a lot of fear. At first, only I had to wear a mask, and my clients did not. It was up to the clients if they had to wear a mask. Then we had to properly clean and sanitize our stations between each client. You can't reuse capes. Very specific cleaners that we had to use, and not double booking were most of the mandates.
Washing our hands, sanitizing, wearing gloves. It just seemed like common sense.
They need to have trust in our abilities to keep ourselves safe and our clients safe. I know that I can do my job safely having 2 clients in my room right now. I'm fine saying that we can all wear masks, but I can do my job safely having more than 1 client in my room. Our ventilation system here goes straight outside. It's not recycled air. We can keep our doors open. It's just not an issue, and we have enough room in our rooms to do that. Trying to get our supplies has been stressful. I've heard from my personal supplier, he said a lot of our supplies come from California, and they've been shut down a lot longer than Ohio. And apparently, the warehouses where hair products come from, they're not essential. So, we're not able to get a lot of products. I've noticed that it's slowly getting better, but I still can't get a full order without things being on back order.
Limes. There was a lime shortage, which was very strange. Any kind of paper goods was tough. Toilet paper, even for us, was hard to get. We bought a pretty decent amount of it at the beginning when we could, and then there was about a month period we couldn't get it. I remember when our hamburgers tripled in price, so we had to make price adjustments on that.
Every mom and pop was competing for the same hamburger meat, and I had to drive 4 counties to 6 different locations to try and satisfy my small amount of customers during the shutdown.
It was really hard to get to-go boxes. We were borrowing and stealing to-go boxes because supply ran out of those because everybody was doing to-go food in the country.
In a week's time, everyone was trying to get these specific hospital-grade cleaners, and we couldn't. It was nearly impossible. I somehow hit the lottery when I found a jug of Lysol at a local store, and it was a gift that I found that, but that was very stressful.
I really hope we can get back to some more of a seating capacity. With how the rules are now, with the 6 feet in between the tables, I usually have 178 seats. I lost 70 of them. So lost roughly about 40% of our capacity. That's gonna hurt.
Within about a month of coming back to the salon, it was then declared that no, everybody, you and your client, has to wear a mask. Now, when clients come in, we have to meet them at the door and escort them into our room and escort them when they leave. So our salon doors are actually locked when you try to come in. If they're not wearing a mask, I have to refuse, their business. I have to say, I can't service you because you can't come into our building without a mask on. I don't see how I could continue to run my business the way that I'm running it now, just doing what I'm doing to my body and even to my family, because at this point, when I get home at night, my kids are already in bed and I tuck them in. I don't get to do family dinners. I miss a lot of baseball games. their stepdad at this point spends more time with my kids than I get to, just because I can't double book. It's very frustrating.
Our cost of doing business has gone up. We have to buy extended amounts of chemicals, more paper product, more things that we use every day, but you need more of them, primarily paper goods. But with the different rules for cleaning and sanitizing, we may shut our business down for a day just to do deep cleaning. So that's money lost. A product that may have cost us $20 per gallon pre-pandemic is now $48 per gallon.
I did have to increase prices, and that's been hard on some clients as well. I've had a couple people reach out to me and say, I'm sorry, I can't afford, to come to you anymore. And I appreciate their honesty, but I have to do what's right for my business. One salon owner had to leave because she had just started here and wasn't in a position to run a business without, continually running it.
We got our kitchen 3 days before DeWine shut us down. We had to come up with ways to just be able to stay open. When the curfew hit, I lost that newfound revenue. I lost 87% of it. All of my business was between 10 and 2 because we hadn't established ourselves as a kitchen yet.
The 10 p.m. curfew, they do 80% of their sales between 9 p.m. and 2 a.m. Like, they're getting crushed, even to this day as we speak. And something's got to give, or we're going to have, ORA is going to be right, then we're going to lose 50% of our restaurants like we already are seeing. We're going to lose more. I have a lot of friends it's crushing.
10 p.m. is when you got busy. So to say, cut off your prime money-making hours, that's just crushes a lot of people, and it's going to crush a lot of bars in Ohio. The individuals affected by the mandates, affected by the pandemic, it's a huge cycle. They are using the hashtag, we are in this together. And that's true. And in some cases, we are going down the commode together as well.
Once the kids got home, I became a teacher, which tested me, right? Because I went to school to be a teacher, but my kids did not want me to be their teacher. So it was stressful every day, trying to really make them buckle down and work. But they really needed me by their side to get them to do their schoolwork. My son became very depressed and had a lot of anxiety. We had to start counseling with him. He's was 9 years old at the time, and he had so much anxiety and depression. I was really scared for him.
My youngest just is going to be turning 2. It's been very, very difficult because there's no escape for them.
My daughter handled it pretty well, but she became more withdrawn. She stayed in her room a lot, was definitely on technology, on her phone, way more than I'm comfortable with. But most days I ended up crying because, one of the kids was mad. Both of the kids were mad. They didn't like me being a teacher. It was really tough.
And my oldest, we found out she had autism going into this. And they say that the major age is between 3 and 4. And for her not to be able to go to school, as a father, it's gut-wrenching. Sorry. I cleaned it up, boys. I'm sorry.
I hate seeing my friends struggle, but I have a lot of friends that own businesses that have not had a very good summer. They haven't had a very good 6 months. And it's really tough to watch people that you care about go through tough times. And I just feel that there's got to be a better way that we can go about, being careful with COVID, protecting the most vulnerable, but opening up our economy a a little bit more and more as the weeks and months go past.
If we don't have enough money, I can't pay staff. If we cut off staff, then staff is going to have to go on unemployment, which again, they're going back to the government. So we're all feeding out of the same trough. It just depends on, who gets fed today.
There's a lot of us that are at risk of losing our place because we can't hold true to our commitments to our landlords.
For now, for a period of time, we are learning how to adjust our lives and our businesses to make it work so that we can keep our doors open. But the longer this goes on, I am worried that I will start losing clients because it's a lot, because I can't double book and I can't create more hours in a day. Before COVID hit, which I would say that hit my business in March, but prior to that, for the prior 9 years, I've been seeing about a 10 to 20% increase yearly in my yearly revenue.
Before the pandemic hit, starting around last November, we had a record month. I've been here 6 years. December, we came just shy of having a record December. I launched a catering division in January. We fell a little bit short of a record in January, and then February we got another record month. March was on pace to be the best March since I've been here. I had 38 catering events on the books that all obviously got canceled when we got shut down. So I just felt that there was a lot of momentum going into the lockdown, and it just came to a screeching halt.
We had a lot of customers come out of the woodwork, so to speak, call us people I would never think of, and just asking us what we needed. How could they help us to make sure we kept our doors open? And that was very refreshing, very unexpected, and exciting.
I developed friendships with a lot of the local places, Elton at Prohibition, Manny at Azteca. Instead of being each other's competition, we are each other's support, which I thought was one of the greatest stories that happened to us during this whole thing. Bouncing ideas off of each other. How are you guys handling this? How are you guys handling this? And one of the big things that we collaborated with each other is we would team up and provide food, whether it be to frontline workers, first responders, maybe a single mom just needed a meal. And we were always searching for somebody that we could help and give back. Our community during these last 6 months has been amazing. I never would have guessed in my wildest dreams that we would have got that much support from the people of Powell and Dublin, Ohio, Shawnee Hills. They were coming from Hilliard. It was truly remarkable to see, and they really saved the business. And I want to just thank them from the bottom of my heart.
Everybody was in our corner. Everybody felt us, and that helped. That helped out tremendously. I have some of the best regulars in the whole industry. They're amazing people, and they've been there for us. They, in this industry, you try and just take your life and you put it aside because you're there for them. Let's not forget that. You are there for them. And during this whole thing, despite our best efforts, they've been there for us. We're so lucky. We are.
As soon as my kids went back to school, I have noticed a huge change. My son is back to the happy-go-lucky kiddo that we were pre-COVID. He came home after the first day of school and said, "I never thought I'd say that I'm happy to be in school." So I said, well, we'll remember this forever because we'll see if you still say that. But they're both very happy to be back in school. They're both you can just see they're lightened because they're having that interaction with their friends that they weren't getting. So, and I've noticed by coming back to work and recreating my normal, I feel much happier, less anxiety. than just being at home.
I would hope that if an individual was feeling any kind of symptoms, COVID aside, if you're sick, you got flu, whatever, please come back when you're healthy. And I would hope adults would have common sense with that. So if we can't get a program that's going to help today, if we can't get something sustainable through this pandemic, all we're doing is putting a Band-Aid on the problem, and these businesses that are lasting today in the next 6 months to 2 years, they're going to go out anyway.
Governor DeWine, you had a very difficult decision. I'll never judge you for your decision. Where judgment does come in is how we've handled it since. Protocols have been vague at best. I have the utmost desire to do everything safe and right. Sometimes the direction wasn't there to find out the best of what's safe and right. If this goes on much longer and there's no assistance, this place is done. But when we can do it right, and we can do it between 10 and 2 a.m., I think we're going to see a big positive rebound in the industry. I do.
We live our lives on very thin margins as it is. We are used to struggle. We are used to the ebbs and flows of the economy. However, when you are just throwing a mandate and one that everyone knows about now, it doesn't impact me personally, but the 10 p.m. mandate on bars and restaurants to sell alcohol, in addition to, sporting venues, you're just making it hard for them to make money. And I understand why you're doing it. It's not about agreeing or disagreeing, but those are things that are just going to crush business, are going to crush independent owners, and it's going to put our state financially in a tailspin that it'll take us 10 years to get out of, if ever.
You do the best you can do, and that's what's getting my family through this. We just do the best that we can do, and we keep going. We're gonna get through this thing. We just got to keep getting creative. My great grandpa got creative during a difficult time. I got that in me too.